The darkest history from every neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. In Buffalo's Allentown, we have the first inauguration of Teddy Roosevelt. On September 6, 1901, President McKinley was shot by anarchist Leon Czolgosz while attending the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo. McKinley was taken to the home of the exposition's president to recover, but died from his wound 8 days later. Vice President Roosevelt rushed back from the Adirondacks to Buffalo. At the home of prominent Buffalo lawyer Ansley Wilcox in Allentown, Roosevelt took his presidential oath. The ceremony was brief, quiet, and overshadowed by grief. Happening in Elmwood Village, we have the murder of Edwin Burdick. Edwin was part of the Elmwood set, Buffalo's wealthiest and most influential families during the Gilded Era. Edwin was found bludgeoned in his den by a golf club. Investigation pulled back the curtain on the scandalous love pentagon between his wife and several prominent local socialites. Prime suspect was Arthur Pennell, who was sleeping with Burdick's wife. Just as the police were closing in on a potential arrest, Arthur and his wife lost their lives after mysteriously plunging their car into a quarry. Happening in Black Rock, we have the Scajaquada radioactive scare. In the 1940s, the Lind Air Products plant in Black Rock processed thousands of tons of uranium for the Manhattan Project. For decades, the hazardous material was dumped into shallow wells and allowed to leach into Scajaquada Creek. Urban legends of the creek's toxicity proved to be true. Spurred by the national outcry from the nearby Love Canal disaster, federal investigators confirmed the presence of elevated radiation in the soil. Today, the site remains a prominent part of the government's FOOSRAP cleaning program. Happening in Parkside, we have the blizzard of '77. One of the deadliest and most devastating winter storms in American history. The storm created whiteout conditions that paralyzed the city for days. Temperatures plunged and more than 24 people died. In Parkside, the hurricane-force winds were ripping apart the Buffalo Zoo. Snowdrifts became so high, they created ramps over fences and barriers for the animals to escape. Reindeer were among the animals that managed to wander into nearby neighborhoods, becoming one of the storm's most surreal sights. One reindeer was tranquilized outside of Buffalo State College, and another one was lassoed on a side street in Kenmore. Happening in North Park, we have the Great North Park Theater Safe Heist. At the time, the theater was packed nightly with audiences, flocking to the blockbuster The Silence of the Lambs. So the thieves thought that the safe would be overflowing with cash. They climbed on the roof and cut a hole through the ceiling to get inside. They rappelled down by rope into the manager's office. They used heavy-duty hydraulic equipment to lift the theater's 800-pound safe back up through the roof. They then escaped in a van. The police would later find the safe cracked open in a remote part of the city. The irony is, all the equipment that these thieves used was way more expensive than the meager amount of money they would find in the safe.